Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph and I am coming to you from downtown Columbus, Ohio. My voice is a little bit froggy because I went to Cedar Point, that's a theme park, on Saturday and I haven't recovered yet, which is weird. It normally doesn't take this long. Also, I'm drinking iced tea in this like tumbler that I got in an Illumicrate box, and the first time I took a sip, it went down the wrong pipe. I don't actually know what causes you to do that, but it was bad. So I think I'm recovering from that as well. Anyway, this video is going to be my September TBR. Now, for the month of September, I'm keeping it very loose and open because I have just been throwing my TBR list to the wind and not following them. So, in the month of September, there is the Magic-a-thon, which is hosted by Book Roast. For those of you who don't know what a readathon is, kind of like a knit along where you pick a project and everyone knits in a certain time frame. A readathon is very similar. Typically you're not reading the same books, but you're following prompts or something. So for this one, it's a new version of it this year so that it is not affiliated with Harry Potter. So we're going to Aurelium is the land that she's made up. So it's like a multi-year thing. So the first year you are journeying to the school, and up until next April, I think, is when you can create your character. So I'm not going to create my character, and I will leave a link to the explanation video if this sounds fun to you. So I'll include that below. But essentially, there are 7 prompts, and you only need to fulfill 2 of them to make it to the school and basically move to the next level. It's a game, right? It's totally game. It's all an honor system, just like a knit along. Even with books, there's no like picture proof that you've read it. It's not like there's a test or anything. It's just really to get people to read more. So with that in mind, I wrote down the 6 prompts instead of printing out the document. I was going to print it out, but for whatever reason, my printer was not seeing it as a PDF. It was seeing it as a web image. And so it was literally printing like 1/3 of it. So wrote them down and came up with the potential books that I would want to read for those prompts. Again, I'm not going to read all these books. With the way that life is, I just can't read that much anymore. I'm doing a lot better this year than last year. I am still ahead of my Goodreads goal, but my Goodreads goal isn't 100 books like it has been the last 10-ish years. So it's fine. I'm an adult now with adult responsibilities. And unfortunately, sitting at home and reading is not one of those, but I digress. So I'm gonna show you the books that I have filled out for those prompts, and then I'm just gonna mood read which ones I want. Now I would love to get through all of them, but that's not gonna happen. I did pick some thinner ones though. For the first prompt, it is to pick a book with a map in it. And I have selected Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I was about to say Vice and Virtue, which is a different book, by Tomi Adeyemi. This is book 2 in a trilogy, I believe. I thought it was a duology, but I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy. I'm not sure when the 3rd one's going to be released, but I don't plan on buying it because I did not think the first one was very good. I gave it 3 stars, I believe. So why am I reading this one? Because I'm a completionist. I do want to know what happens next, And once I read this, I will sell it to half price books and maybe get $1 because that's the resale value on books is garbage. So, the first one is Children of Blood and Bone, and it is about Zelly, and so the world that she lives, oh, and here's the map, you know, just to prove that there is a map. The king, the royal family, mainly the king, he has stamped out magic in the world because magic was kind of in the, what he deems the lesser people, and like the non-royalty, and he essentially tries to kill everyone that has any sort of magic tendencies. And oh, there's a bird. Birds have been like sitting on my windowsill recently. When I came home from work today, there was one like taking a nap. Oh, just so cute. Zelly had watched her mother be murdered, and so she had a lot of trauma around that, understandably. So Zelly ends up going on this quest with her brother and the princess, and it's basically to, you know, save the world. And there is like a hate to love relationship that I just did not, it didn't vibe with me. I love hate to love. It's my old favorite trope, as it is for most people. And I did not think the hate to love was good. So anyway, I'm being so negative in the fact that I'm going to read the second book, but I own it and I want to read it. Fun fact, I bought this on New Year's Eve of 2020. Did I buy it New Year's Eve 2020? Or was it New Year's Eve 2019? I think it was New Year's Eve, like 2019 to 2020. So I bought it at Kroger. You don't care. So this is one of the books I would like to get to. Is it the same characters that we follow? Amari, Zelly, and then the brother? Do we follow the brother? So far, we don't. I don't think he dies. But I can't even remember. Great vote of confidence. The second prompt is, I cannot read my handwriting. Oh, a book at the top of my TBR, a book that I've been really wanting to read. And this is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. I have thought about buying this book. Why did I say so weird? I have had this book in my hand multiple times, and when I was at the library, I saw it on the shelf and I was like, yep, I'm getting it. There's something about this book that's really drawing me in. Lori Gottlieb is a therapist in LA, and this book talks about how she ends up needing a therapist, and then she also gives you, I think it's about like four people that's come to her. What would that be? 4 patients? I think it's 4. There's some patients. Now, she definitely got permission to write about those people, and I don't think she gives, like, she changes the names and all of that jazz. But something about this just makes me, I feel like I'm gonna really like this book. I've heard about it in a lot of places. I'm pretty sure I heard it on Book Riot podcast. I'm pretty sure I've seen it or listened to the New Yorker or New York Times book podcast. It's been hyped in a lot of places. Not so much on BookTube, probably because it's not fantasy. But yeah, so this one I really want to get to. I really want to get to this one. It's also a lot longer than I thought it would be. Are there footnotes? There are acknowledgements. Yeah, it's 412 pages. It's a pretty long book for it not to be a fantasy. The next prompt is to read a standalone novel. And for that one, I was kind of debating between two different Sylvia Moreno Garcia books, but I ended up with the beautiful ones. The other one that I was thinking about was, oh my gosh, what is it called? Mexican Gothic. But I ended up with this one instead, so let's put them together. Sylvia Moreno Garcia, she wrote a book that I really, really loved. And I originally rated it 4 stars, and then I brought it up to a 5 because I kept thinking about it. And it was Gods of Jade and Shadow. That book was a fantasy novel, and I still think about that book. So I have to give it 5 stars. And I've been really intrigued to read her other books. Is it just straight up fantasy? Or is it a modern fantasy? There's fantastical elements to this book. And you're following Nina, who is debuting in society. She has her season, and she has telekinesis, but she is struggling to control or use her powers. She then meets a Hector Avre, who also has telekinesis, and he performs with it. And when he meets Nina, he's basically thinking about how her telekinesis could be fantastic if she trained under him. And Nina falls in love with him, but the ending tag is great romances are for fairy tales, and Hector is hiding a truth from Nina and himself that threatens to end their courtship before it truly begins. This is not too long of a book, so it's not even 300 pages, and I think this is going to be good. I think all of them are going to be good. Well, I think this one will be okay. Ooh, the shade. The next prompt is to pick a book that is supernatural or has ghosts in it, and I'm going with Wishes and Wellingtons by Julie Berry. This is a middle grade that I've recently picked up from Barnes & Noble. Middle grade is a breeze to get through. How many pages is this guy? So it's 363 pages, but you know, the margins are great. You've got larger font, you have double or 1.5 spacing, so it'll be easy to get through. And I think of the books, this will probably be a definite yes that I'll get to. This book follows Maeve Merritt, who is at a London boarding school for upright young ladies. So she's punished to sort through the trash, and she finds a foul-tempered djinn who reluctantly grants her 3 wishes. But Maeve isn't the only one that knows about the djinn. There is a mysterious tall man, a disgruntled schoolworker, and a take-no-prisoners business tycoon that want to steal the djinn for their own nefarious purposes. So it's Maeve with the help of her roommate Alice and an orphan boy named Tom to save the world. So cute. I haven't read a lot of books with djinns or genies. I'm not sure if that's kind of supernatural, right? Supernatural blends itself kind of into fantasy. I don't know, where do djinns sit? Are they supernatural or are they fantasy, or can they be both? I'm gonna treat it as supernatural. Also, this kind of looks like a ghost. I get it right here, it's connected, but this looks like they're chilling with a ghost. Next one is to pick a thriller or a mystery. I'll be honest, I don't read a lot of thrillers. They just all seem the same. So, I'm not sure if this is considered a thriller or a mystery, but I'm going to. It is The The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, and it is a National Book Award finalist. This is about this island where things just disappear, and the inhabitants of the island don't see that things are disappearing. Like, they don't have awareness to it, unless you do have awareness, and then you disappear. So there's this draconian police force called the Memory Police, who make sure that when something disappears, everyone forgets about it. So a young writer discovers that her editor is in danger, and so she hides him in her floorboards, and she has to write down, I guess, whatever he's remembering, because she's forgetting it, so that they can remember whatever it is, preserving the past. I picked this book up at Kinokuniya, which is a bookstore. There's a couple of them throughout the world, but the one I picked this up in is in New York City, and I'm pretty excited to read this. So there's some different fonts, so I'm wondering if some of the fonts are from her typing up the memories. The next prompt is a 5-star prediction, and I had a really hard time with this one because there are a few 5-star predictions. There's quite a few 5-star predictions on my bookshelf, but most of them are series, and so I was kind of deciding which series did I want to start. Well, I ended up with The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is one of the books that I wanted to read in 2021, and I figured, let's see if I can at least start it. The 5th Season is the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy, and it's about, like, the world just keeps ending. I don't know too much more, but from the YouTube videos that I've watched or booktubers that have talked about this book, it seems like the Earth is a character. So you follow humans, but then the Earth itself is a character as well. So all 3 of them have won the Hugo Award, which is a fantasy, is it and sci-fi? But it's definitely a fantasy award. And yeah, I'm very excited. I've been wanting to read this book for years. And then the last prompt is to read a book that is in a school setting, and I am going with The Nickel Boys. I feel like a lot of people are probably taking this prompt to be like dark academia or things like that. I'm taking this to a school. What is the school? Elwood? No, that is the person's name. Nickel Academy. I can't remember if that's the actual name of that school, but it is a real school in Florida. And just like within the last couple years, they've been exhuming the bodies that are all over the grounds of the school. So it's one of those schools where parents would send their unruly children, or children would be separated from their parents and sent there and essentially tortured. It's sad, but basically you're like 300, I don't even know how many, but it's in the hundreds of kids were murdered, died at this school. And really only in the recent years has it been brought forth. So Nickel Boys is by Colson Whitehead. He is the author of The Underground Railroad. It has so many praises on the back. And the Nickel Boys did win the Pulitzer, as did The Underground Railroad. I'm pretty sure both of his books did. So it is based on the real story of a reform school in Florida that operated for 111 years and warped the lives of thousands of children. Yeah, it's just so sad. Okay, so it's inspired by the story of the Dozier School for Boys in Marianna, Florida. This book I've also heard a lot about, and I haven't read a Colson Whitehead book. I've been meaning to read Underground Railroad. I've been meaning to read this book, and this is my push to finally do it. This is also not a long book. It just hits 200 pages. Yeah, 210 pages. I can read that. So those are all the books that I'm gonna hopefully read. Well, I just said I'm not gonna read all of them. These are all the books that I've selected for the readathon. I'm not gonna read all of them. And there are a few other books that I would like to get to. I wanna get, listen to an audiobook. I wanna get either a manga or a comic, graphic novel. I wanna read one. And then I really, really wanna read Ruin and Rising so that I can finish this trilogy and get to the Six of Crows duology, and then I can watch the Netflix show. Maybe I'll watch the Netflix show like in December. It's gonna happen at some point. Thank you for watching the video. If any of these books sound interesting to you, or you've read them, or you want to read them, let me know down below. Like I said, I will link the original info for the Magic Bookathon hosted by the Book Roast. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.